The relationship between ethics and HRM is extremely important, but also extremely difficult. One of the problems that will recur through this lecture is the difficulty in determining what we mean by ethics. Lewis offers a great metaphor for the difficulty of defining ethics as akin to nailing Jello to a wall. First and foremost, ethics is not objective. Ethics varies depending on culture, geography, context, and time. Ethics changes across these and especially over time. I like L.P. Hartley's line on this, that the past is a foreign country. They do things differently there. And so a valid question that might be asked when discussing ethics is, whose ethics? Ethics concerns what is right and what is fair, but what do these words mean? For example, in more than 10 years of running this class, students have commonly stated obedience, that is, following rules, as ethical. And yet this has been used to explain why people engaged in dreadful behaviours under Nazism. See the Milgram experiments. Business ethics are rooted in the ethical norms of a particular economy, an organisation's country of origin or site of operation, and the ethical influences on the senior figures within the organisation. Motivation to accumulate surplus has led to alarming instances of unethical behaviours. So whose ethics do we follow if we wish to be ethical? Here I'd encourage you to read the paper by Winstanley and Woodall that I've embedded in the slide. We can begin with two highly influential and very different approaches to ethics by Thomas Hobbes and Jeremy Bentham. Hobbesian ethical egoism advocates for the promotion of one's own well-being above anyone else's. It is ethical to maximize self-interest. Ethical egoists consider the interests of others when it suits them. For example, in instances where to do so would prevent unpleasant consequences for the individual. Accordingly, it is ethical that HR works in the interests of the employer rather than the rights of employees, although not if this has adverse consequences for the firm and its effectiveness. In contrast, Bentham's utilitarianism argues that it is ethical to pursue the greatest happiness to the greatest number of people. Morality is determined by the outcome of actions. Utilitarianism promotes efficiency, not necessarily equality. It also justifies discrimination. HRM operates in the interests of the majority, according to Bentham. If we apply Bentham's ideas, HR operates in the interests of the majority, not in the interests of all, and certainly not in the interests of the minority over the majority. Moving into the more recent past, we can contrast the ideas of John Rawls and Robert Nozick. John Rawls' theory of distributive justice avers that distribution should favour the least advantaged. Everyone should be given a fair chance to succeed irrespective of their background. Unequal distribution is ethical if it is to the benefit of the least advantaged, i.e., that more is given to the most vulnerable. Human capital commonly reflects the inequality in society, and so the organisation must consider other factors than education, experience, and training in selection, appraisal, reward, and so on, with decisions made based on the principles stated above. Human capital commonly reflects the inequality in society, and so the organisation must consider other factors than education, experience, and training in selection, appraisal, reward, and so on. Robert Nozick provides justification for meritocratic decisions. That is, the best person for the job. In his entitlement conception of justice, Nozick argues that people are entitled to use and benefit from their own property if it's acquired in a just way. Human capital is one's property and people should benefit from it. It is ethical, therefore, to make decisions based on the candidate's qualifications, work experience, and so forth, so that the best candidate, according to absolute criteria, is selected for the job, because this process is consistent with rational, meritocratic decision-making. The concept of meritocracy is an interesting one that on face value seems ethically sound. Meritocracy is a system in which status is assigned on the basis of individual talent and effort rather than wealth or class. According to meritocratic principles, there should be no barriers to advancement beyond ability. The problem with this concept is that individual talent is fundamentally linked to class and wealth, especially where proxies such as education and experience are used for talent. Michael Young, who is credited with introducing the term meritocracy, notes that it is a natural inclination for parents to seek unfair advantages for their children. And where there is economic inequality, then some parents will be more successful in this than others. Inevitably, there is inequality, and one's merit according to experience, education, and qualifications are determined by factors other than one's inherent merit. Young intervened after his son did not secure grades to win a place at Brasenose College, Oxford University, ensuring that his son was admitted irrespective of his exam performance. The college admissions scandal in the US in recent years has shown how wealth and fame of one's parents have a significant impact on education. Araki notes that educational attainment is often used as a proxy for one's merit, but vast evidence shows that an individual's family background significantly determines his or her socioeconomic outcomes directly or indirectly via education. Educational attainment is a poor proxy for merit and leads to credentialism, and a society where credentialism prevails over meritocracy.